Hello and welcome to this episode of Garden Chats. I'm Elizabeth Jones, your host, and Garden Chats are short conversations with creatives, and trailblazers, and people who are doing things in the community that are impactful and innovative. And so today I am super excited to have as a guest Demi Gardner. How are you today, Demi? Welcome.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. So, Demi is a filmmaker who is passionate about the power of storytelling, whether it's directing, producing, or working as a videographer. She focuses on elevating the voices and experiences of those around her. Born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, Demi's work draws deep inspiration from the vibrant West End community. She sees storytelling as a bridge, one that can foster empathy, connection, and understanding. And so for Demi, it's not just about creating content, it's about creating space for people to come together and celebrate shared humanity. And so through every project, she aims to craft something meaningful, beautiful, and rooted in truth. And that's such a dope bio. And just a quick intro. I became familiar with Demi through attending the Bluegrass Black Cinema Festival. It was hosted by an organization called Hyphen Film Center, and Demi is a curator and also a board member from the Film Center. And so I cannot say enough about how incredible this event was. To be honest, before I attended, I didn't really know that there was such a strong film community in Louisville. And not only that, but to pack out the Baxter Community Center, which is right in the middle of, Beecher Terrace, right? Right in the West, on the other side of 9th Street, of what they call the 9th Street Divide in Louisville. So I just thought the event was incredible. And you're also a filmmaker in your own right. So the first question in Garden Chats, we always ask people to talk about influences or what were some of the most powerful influences. Or so on your journey to joining the Film Center and along your creative journey to becoming a filmmaker, what has been most influential for you?
Ooh, what a loaded question. I could talk about all that for like 40 minutes. Um, I will say the thing that pushes me to film is community. And a big person that I accredit my sense of community to is my great grandmother. Her name was Juanita Gardner. I call her my big mama. She was like the mother in the church. My family, granddad, her husband started a church with his brother, but she was like the backbone of that church, and just seeing how she led with grace and beauty. No, but how she led and everybody loved her, and she made everybody feel special. Like you would have swore every single person was her favorite person. So that's somebody who inspires me a lot, because I want to be that person for the community. I want to make sure when people come into film, they feel heard and that they are loved and cared for, and they are welcomed in the space. And I found that when I started going to Hyphen Film Center's screening. So the first season I wasn't a part of, but I started going as just a viewer. And then I became friends with the folks that ran it, and they kidnapped me. No, they were like, was like, join, join, join. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. I was like freshly out of college. I think I was like a year or two out of college. So I was still trying to find my film community here and trying to branch out. So I'm thankful for them and them being great people. Um, how Bluegrass Black Cinema kind of came about was I curated a episode, what we call each year we call it in a new season, and then each screening is a new episode, and each episode centers around a different most of the time is like some kind of social issue or a different theme. And I did one previously with Brent Silverman, which was about the female gaze. So like how women are viewed on screen. And then the second year I did a different episode with, I think with Fitz, but I can't remember what that was, but I'm sure it was something around like Black cinema. And then one year they were like, Demi, you always like help somebody curate. Why don't you just curate something yourself? I was like, yeah, let me do it. And one thing that I feel like Louisville is missing is representation for Black filmmakers from Kentucky, from Louisville. I crew on a lot of film sets, and it's very rare for me to see a Black person, let alone a Black woman. And my mission is always to get Black people, people of color in the industry and lower that barrier. So I was like, why don't I do something called Bluegrass Black Cinema, where it's highlighting Black filmmakers from Kentucky, whether they live here or they're from here. I want to like showcase their work because we don't have an avenue that way. So I think our first year we did that was 23 at FOCO. So shout out to the folks at FOCO. We had a bunch of people there. And then last year I got married, so I had to take the year off. But this year we came back with it, partnering with more communities, spaces like Baxter. So shout out to Vashti for like saying yes and then like making sure it helping me make sure it happened. Because it's one thing to say, yes, this event is for Black people, but where are you having the event? Are you making sure it's in a Black community? Are you making sure it's accessible? Can they get there? Is it on the TARC line? Can they walk there? What is it? What are you doing? So that's one thing that's really important to me. I grew up in Village West, right across the street from Baxter Community Center in Beecher Terrace. So I'm like, if I knew it was something like this in my neighborhood where I could walk to when I was like 13, I definitely would have did it. But yeah, that was like some of my biggest influences to this. I hope I answered the question.
You did, yeah, and it's really amazing to me that the one of the threads throughout a lot of the garden chats has been mothers, grandmothers, big mamas, great grandmothers, the influence of women, also how they care for, how they like mother, how they build community, right, and create safe spaces. So I think that it was a beautiful answer, and I think that you accomplished that goal within the space of cinema in the city of Louisville. Because, like I said before, I didn't even know it existed, and you packed out the space, and it was a diverse crowd. It was a very Black crowd, right? And the art pieces, right? They were just incredible. The one I remember, I can't remember the title of it, but it was essentially it almost gave horror around a miscarriage, which is kind of like a taboo, a little bit
Don't wake the
subject.
baby.
Yes, that was like blew my mind. And so I was like, there's a lot to unpack here. And so I'm just curious what drew you to the artistic format of film and cinema?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be an actor, but I'm a little shy. And I started doing theater in high school because I was like, well, this is what you gotta do. And so I started doing that. And at Eastern, it's a technology school, so you have to take a technology class up into your senior year. But they have different forms of technology, so you can do piano. I did that one year, and I realized I sucked at it. It's harder to do in one period. I need multiple lessons. And then the next year, I was like, oh, well, let me try video editing. You know, I want to be an actor. I'm in theater or whatever. And so that's how I started editing. And then in that class, I had to act. Then I also had to write the script. So we had to do everything in the script, everything surrounding filmmaking in that class while I was still in theater. And then in theater, I realized that I really like directing more than being on the stage. I mean, I still like acting. I love it. It's my first thing, but it's definitely something if it's not like, this is me, you kind of like have to grow into and like get life experience. I'm a way better actor now than when I was 17. But but yeah, I started directing more in high school, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do. And then I went to college for filmmaking, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is where I'm supposed to be. That's how I
Mhm.
got into filmmaking.
Wow, and it sounds like you were from a young age, you really knew for a while, and then your path was kind of shaped by this works, this may not be it. I really enjoy this. Where did you study film?
I went to Western Kentucky University, and I got my
Okay.
degree in filmmaking.
Very cool, very cool. And so I want to switch gears and talk a little bit more about the Hyphen Film Center because part of their mission and part of something that you have talked about, and you mentioned this with the Bluegrass Black Cinema Festival, right? Like location mattering, accessibility. And so I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about the vision for the film center, but also specifically some of the ways that you can see helping reduce barriers to participating in cinematic art and creating film.
Yeah, so the vision for Hyphen Film Center is to make film accessible, whether we're teaching film to kids or we're having a screening and engaging in a dialogue after the film and like seeing what people think about the films that we're showing or what are their experience, because we also want people to talk about their experience, not what they think, because I think when you start talking about something that you've not lived, it becomes dangerous. And that's something that Fitzgerald Jr., who's one of our other curators and board members, really put the emphasis on when we first started. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. that's right. Um, so I think our vision now too is figuring out how can we continue to have these screenings and impact in our community, and hopefully one day maybe get into helping distribute some short films for filmmakers and local filmmakers, and what would that look like. Hopefully one day we want a space too, even though we like
Hmm.
moving around and seeing, but locking a spot one day as well. But just to keep growing and touching people's lives, whether Fitz is doing a satellite show where he's at right now in Austin, but just to keep spreading the word of cinema and keep making it accessible and keep opening those doors and those conversations to what's happening in film. And a film doesn't just have to be entertaining, but how is it impacting you?
Do you have any personal projects you're working on right now, or are there any ideas or concepts that you are interested in exploring right now using film?
Yeah, I'm actually shooting. I'm directing a short next week. So that should be fun. Be on the lookout for that. Right now, the working title is called Dead Cat. We'll see what happens. But
Can you say the title again? Did you say Dead Cat?
Dead, yes, it's a
Okay.
horror. I don't know if you see Carrie in the background, but I love horror movies.
Okay.
So it's a fun little piece. Me and a friend are making. His name is Daryl Goodner. We were like, let's make something off the wall. Let's play with some ideas. Let's just do it. So that's what we're doing next week. So we'll see what happens. And then also I've been working on a documentary about the West End. It's about women and mothers in the West End.
Mm.
I know it's so crazy when I like explain this because it's such a like in the works thing, even though I've been working on it for a couple years, but it's a documentary. I'm following three people. Jaree Gardner was my aunt, but she's also a single mom, and she works at Ford, and she also works for Seven Counties as a part of their um, dispatch team for mental health crises. And she does a lot, and she's running for Metro City Council District 1. So just like following a mother who's trying to change their environment while raising their kids. That's one perspective of the documentary. And then I'm following Destiny Carter, who's also known as DJD Nasty. Hey. She's my best friend, but she does all the things. If you know Destiny, she's a yogi. She is a teacher. She's a DJ, obviously, a sound healer, a nonprofit organizer, and just watching her she is doing grow queer spaces for Black folks in Louisville, especially in the West End, and just try to make her community better as well. And I'm also following a young lady named Iserene. Oh, sorry. But she has worked for multiple nonprofits down here in the West End, and seeing her grow and find her way has been great. And see her change her community with her work is awesome. And I'm proud to watch it. I'm proud of these ladies. But documentaries take a long time. So I'm still working on it and still weaving those stories together. But be on the lookout if you want to help. Get involved, give me some money, anybody.
For the people in the back, right? I think it's a couple things. I have a curious question about horror, but I think to follow, mothers in Louisville, that's an interesting topic from so many perspectives. People want to demonize Black women as mothers. It makes me think about the woman who curated Dandelion. And then she produced In Our Mother's Gardens on Netflix. But that was more, it explored a lot of different themes in that one. And so I'm really curious. And again, I love documentaries. So what draws you to horror films? What makes you love horror?
I live in a state of anxiety constantly. So I think like watching something scary, does something nice to my brain. Maybe it evens it out. I don't know. But I don't know. I just like I like knowing that something bad is gonna happen. It's just a matter of like, what actually bad is gonna happen? Who knows? I don't know. It's a fun genre. It can take you to the pits of hell, but also I feel like most horror films deal with something very normal and regular. Like Carrie is like self body imagery, and how that can be terrifying to a young lady coming into her body. But I don't know. I feel like just horror films are just huge allegories to regular things that give people anxiety, but just amped up. So, and I feel like, you think about Get Out is just about racism and how that feels, but just told in an artful way, and how it can feel terrifying. So I think that's why I like it so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. You say that you're anxious all the time, and it kind of balances out your brain. I'm the opposite. If a film is too intense for me, I'll have to like turn it off. I'm like, I'm not in a space where I can watch this. I'll have to come back to. You also mentioned Get Out. I love Jordan Peele. I would say that's probably my least favorite movie of his, maybe because it was over think pieced before I saw it. And so I was like, I already know this movie, I already know what's gonna happen. But I think he's a brilliant creator. And so yeah, do you have any thoughts about Jordan Peele and the work that he does and the way he kind of does like racial fantasy and some, but like integrates it into horror?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I think he's dope, number one. Let me just say that, period. He's dope. I do think it's interesting because also I'm kind of in the same situation as him, where he's a biracial man married to a white woman. And he has these like pretty racially heavy tone movies or whatever. But no, it's funny to me because maybe it's like him working through something in his brain. But I think he's dope. I like the casting he does too, because like Keke Palmer's dope, but
Mm-hmm,
but I
mm-hmm.
love the people that he cast in his movies to bring to life. But yeah, Jordan Peele, I would love to like sit down and talk to him and just be like, how much of your personal life are in these films? Because I mean, as a filmmaker, you end up writing pretty much the same things, and like a lot of tones and themes of my films is like community, belonging, mental health, whatever else. So I would love to like just sit down and pick his brain.
Wow, that's a thoughtful answer. I also like Nope too, and did not know that there are aspects of film that can allude to the way other directors shoot shots. So, like Nope, I read something about how the fact when the characters look up at the sky, that's an allusion to another to an idea or a concept from another filmmaker. It blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is for people who are cinephiles who really understand these things. But wow, so every garden chat it ends by asking the guests to plant seeds of wisdom. And so for you today, what advice or wisdom would you share today?
To future filmmakers or just in general?
You can do both if you want. Yeah.
To future filmmakers, or if you are a filmmaker, don't give up. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. Um, Finding your community is also hard sometimes, and just because you get a no from somebody doesn't mean you're not going to get a yes from the next person. Also, stay believing in your vision. It's your vision for a reason. Don't let people taint it. That doesn't say, it don't mean, like, don't listen to the people who's helping you, but be selective and have discernment on the feedback that you are getting, because you will have some haters. Whether you at the top or at the bottom, people's always gonna hate. In general, in filmmaker, this applies to both. Be kind, respect your community. Um, don't take no BS. You know, uh, people are only gonna allow what you allow. People are only gonna do what you allow, and make sure you set boundaries and just believe in yourself and your work.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would also say that it feels like not only did you find your community, but you have done an incredible job of building it. And I think the film festival was a prime example of that. So thank you for your work. Thank you for pouring into Louisville, but also West Louisville specifically. I am super excited for your documentary. But again, like you said, I know it's going to take time. Also, congrats on getting married. I meant to say that earlier when you mentioned it. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to chat today. And before we depart, do you want to share how people can find you, or if people want to contact you, how can they find you? I don't know if you want to share your socials or anything like that.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you for having me. Number one, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming out to the event and being a vendor and and experiencing whatever happened that day. Um, you can find me on Instagram, Demi Gardner, or directed by Demi. But if you type in Demi Gardner, I'm the first one that should pop up. We'll see. Um, you can also reach out to me on through my website, which is just demigardner.com. And all of those places has ways to talk to me. So just press
Mhm.
something and send me a message
Okay,
or some
yeah. Well,
money.
thank
No, I'm
you.
joking.
Oh, yeah, no, you're not joking. Yes, say it loud, right? And because let's be honest, people have to eat and live. Um, and people should be able to do that while doing creative work, right? And you're clearly passionate about your work. You're clearly good at what you do. So, yeah, you should say, give you some money, because you are creating your own lane. You are building community in the city of Louisville, and you're incorporating new voices. So, all the things, yes. So,
Appreciate it.
all right. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll wrap this episode up.